Computer, yes. All right, perfect. So I'm joined by Pedro, and he'll be keeping a track on people that are joining the class. He'll be keeping a track on the chat. So if I ask questions or if you have feedback, please include it into the chat. Right, today we're talking about discipline in preschools. All right. So let's quickly start with a few basics, right? Why do we need discipline in a preschool setting? Let's go, Anthea. Tell us, why do we need discipline?
Oh my gosh, why did you ask me first?
Somebody had to be
Um,
the winner.
I think discipline is important, especially for the team, so that they know what to expect, and
Mhm.
it plays a big role in routines as well. Because if there's a discipline, you just got me off guard, man. Um,
No, but you're saying they're all the right thing.
yeah, because if there's no discipline, there will not be routine. They will not know what to do, what to expect, what will be following up. You understand? So there must be rules and things in place for them. So it
Yeah.
is important to have that in a preschool or in any life actually.
Yeah, of course. So when we look at discipline, the from a psychological perspective, the most important thing is that we often discipline and we understand discipline according to how we were disciplined. Right. So we understand discipline according to how we were disciplined. So let's explore that for a second. I want you to think of yourself when you were age, let's say 6, 7, and how did discipline happen in your home? Right. What was the vibe of discipline in your home? What emotion does it bring up for you? And maybe Jonaline, you can tell us, how did discipline happen in your home? Jonaline? Okay. Darnell, can you tell us how discipline happened in your home?
Well, um, yeah, I come from a very different household. So we didn't actually have discipline. Um, my parents were divorced very early. So yeah, but when I look back living with my grandma and them, they were quite strict on me. Yeah, I didn't like hiding much. Didn't feel happy about it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I must say, discipline is good for children. It makes you feel safe. I mean, if you have discipline in in your home, I mean, you keep your children safe in a way that they need to understand what is right and what is wrong. So, yeah.
Yeah, so I think when we look back at how we're disciplined, number one, if I look back on how I was disciplined, things have changed quite a lot. Um, and we need to be on top of how discipline and appropriate discipline happens, right? Because remember, your programming will always take you back to how you were disciplined. And sometimes how we were disciplined isn't actually allowed. Actually, I can almost guarantee you it's not allowed in the school system. So we need to be very careful of understanding why we discipline, how we discipline, and what the purpose of discipline is. Right. So if somebody ever tells you that discipline is so that the children can listen to you, you know that they've failed at creating a good environment. So let's look at discipline now in terms of the purpose and why we have it. And the easiest way to do that is to look at the typical behavior of preschoolers. All right. So people in an ECD center. Right. So number one, we start seeing that once children start entering the group setting, right, they become better at completing tasks. Right. Their attention span increases a little bit, but there's an improvement of their attention span. And that means that because they can focus a bit more, not for long, but they can focus a bit more, the tasks that they can do become more complicated. Also, it's important to notice that children at this age, they love getting new responsibilities. And you'll know in your classes, for example, if you say, oh, somebody today is handing out the papers, or somebody today is taking the bin around the class, they almost feel very proud and excited to do it. Hand in hand with that is the idea that although they're looking for new responsibilities, they're also looking for reassurance, security that they are doing things correctly. At this age, children love showing off. They love showing off their talents. They love discovering things about themselves and sharing that with others, right? Usually their peers, right? However, all the sharing and all this new confidence that they're discovering ends up usually with a lot of conflict that they now need to learn how to manage. And they just don't have those skills necessarily yet. Another aspect of preschoolers is that they're starting to recognize their own emotions. They can say, I'm sad, right? I'm happy, I'm sad, this is exciting, not very complicated emotions, but on a very simple level. Very importantly, these young children often look up to adults so that they can know how to react to certain situations, right? So when something comes up, they'll sort of try and work out, and you'll see it with children in the class. If you get angry about something, they'll start mimicking the anger. Somebody will be like, no, it's not okay, all right? They start mimicking because they start looking at how to react to different situations based on the adult in the room. And of course, there are shifts in mood. So they can move from happy and loving to being slightly destructive. All right. So firstly, we need to understand that discipline is the student's responsibility. All right. We need to make it that the students assist us in formulating discipline. All right. So if you think of a teacher who is the center of the classroom, it's all about her or him, all right? You don't have a creative spirit in the class and you rather have fear, all right? So a common way of establishing discipline is to make it a group effort where we have a few rules, right? But we also have a joint agreement to follow these rules, right? Another common view of discipline is that it's the teacher's way of establishing desirable student behaviors, right? So the feeling of belonging and strength within this union is created. I think that's exactly what somebody mentioned earlier. Now, when you couple discipline with good strategies and good techniques and good lessons, you'll discover that bad discipline or bad behavior or negative behavior doesn't actually take place. I don't like the term bad behavior and negative behavior. I prefer the term of unhelpful behavior, right? Because I don't think anybody or any child goes to school and says, today I'm going to be a real little shit. I'm going to be a real problem, right? I think that it's more a response to something, right? It's more response to the group. It's more a lack of control with something that they're experiencing or lack of understand. It is also a myth that discipline is only the responsibility of the teacher. The teacher announces the rules and the students follow the rules, right? We deal with the good and we punish the bad. That's a very old school way of thinking of discipline. And what happens then, and I want you to think of your own classrooms, is if you make yourself responsible for the discipline and it's my rule and you're in my house and you'll follow it, all you're doing there is you're creating a system where the children can now play a game with you. How far can we push it, right? How much can we test this line? And you constantly have to be a policeman in that regard. And I don't think that's necessarily a helpful way of teaching. So let's look at what the basics are. So maybe before that, let's get a bit of chatting going back here, right? Angie, do you teach? Are you in a classroom, right?
Yeah, so I'm with the 2 to 3 phase.
Right.
Um, so yeah, so I think they are the most trying age sometimes.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. So
just
tell me,
because
yeah.
they do test the boundaries. Like they are very like, let me just see how many buttons I can push today and see how I can get away with it or not. But that's just for me, like, lots of parents would be like, um, is my child being naughty? Like, if they like naughty, just like put them in timeout or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, okay, yeah. If they're being like, I also prefer the term saying like busy. Yeah, they're just a
Hmm.
little bit more busy than the others. I don't like using the word naughty because that just kind of puts a label on them as well.
Hmm.
And like an unnecessary label. So, where they obviously travel from your class to the next class or whatever, it's more like all the teachers are going to be like, oh yeah, the naughty child's coming to my class. That's not really needed,
Hmm.
and that's putting a bad label onto the child. So I always say like, no, mummy, like, um, let's say Johnny was being a bit busier today than normal, but I had a chat with him. I spoke to him about it, and we moved on from there. Obviously, yeah, because we obviously can't discipline children because it's obviously illegal. um, but we can put them in timeout for like, to them it sounds like forever, but for them it's like a minute, and then
Yeah.
it's like, okay, let's play nicely now, or let's share our toys. Remember, sharing is caring. Blah blah, and then we go from there. But yeah, I must say, I enjoyed the phase actually. They
Yes,
get their personalities there as well.
you touched on quite a few points, and we're going to elaborate on many of these. Now, tell me, do you find that the behavior in the class is more helpful or less helpful when they're out of routine? So if they don't know what's coming next, what happens to the behavior in the class?
No, it's like it goes south, like completely south, like because I think they need a routine. I think kids in general just need a routine, and that routine becomes like a major thing in their life, and they actually look for that routine. They actually need that routine, especially my classroom. Like you'll see, it's like it's breakfast time. Then we're gonna do our activities, and then we're going to do ring time, and so they really have like that structure, and with that structure you can actually see like how the behavior thing also comes in, where they also act out more, or they push more buttons, or they don't, or
Yeah.
and also like try and make it like a team effort, like okay guys, let's all work together, let's quickly pack up the toys, we're gonna have breakfast now, so then all of them like automatically like start like, okay, let's go. We put the toys in the basket, and so
Hmm.
yeah, I find that more structural, so obviously
Good.
if you
So
start shouting and screaming and saying, guys, keep quiet, guys, it goes south, completely south.
yeah, so the first rule and the most important rule of discipline, and when I consult with schools that are having disciplinary problems, the first thing we do is we say, what is the routine?
Yeah.
Right? What is your structure and what is your routine? So, for example, as adults now, right? And Anthea, get ready to answer because I'm coming to focus the discussion on you in a minute. All right. As adults, right? If you didn't know what was coming next, you wake up in the morning and you have no idea what's going to happen today. Your diary is not in order. You have no idea where you're going to end up. You're going to be a bit of a mess, aren't you? Every
Mhm.
single day, you're just going to be a complete and utter nightmare to deal with. And people are going to start saying, that person's not very nice to be around, right? They act out, right?
Mm.
And that's us as
Yeah.
adults with enough understanding. But we need our routines. We wake up, we have our tea, we go on social media, maybe we have breakfast, maybe we do something. So we know our structure. It's more important even for young children, right, to know their routine and structure. If you think back of COVID during all the lockdowns, that first lockdown we had, where there was no routine, we had no structure and no routine. You were just there existing. What a mess we were as a society, right? We were all pushing boundaries. People were trying all sorts of things to just keep themselves busy and entertained and whatever because they didn't have a structure, right? So in a classroom, the first thing you need to check for discipline is, do I have a set routine? Do I have a set structure? Then we look at how we address misbehavior. So, Anthea, if you can unmute yourself, right? Tell me,
Okay.
right, in your classroom, right? Do you have a classroom? You do, yes?
Me,
Yes.
not yet. I'm a full-time I'm working in retail, but I do practicals.
Okay,
So I
so
take
maybe
leave,
you've observed.
then I go into practical. But I do have experience in it actually. So yeah.
Perfect. So, Anthea, I want to paint a picture for you, right? So you're in
Okay.
the classroom and a child drops something and you go,
Yeah.
no, stop it, you're making a noise. Then another child whispers something. And you're like, Jonathan, you're whispering again. And then another child does something small and you're focusing on that. How much of your lesson becomes just being a policeman?
The thing is, there must be time for that. So
Hmm.
things must not be strict. You understand? You can't say, okay, 9 to 10, I'm just gonna do some numeracy. I'm just making an example, or I'm just
Yeah,
gonna do the alphabet one letter, like A. So I'm gonna do phonics on it, and I'm gonna teach A, the letter A, it's apple, and things. There will be distraction. Children will misbehave. It's actually a bad word to say. They will be a bit busy, but
hmm,
there's a structure for that. I understand there must be like rules in place so they will know, okay, if I do this, this will be happening. If I whisper a little bit louder, ma'am or teacher will maybe put me in a corner. I will not be part of this project. I will be doing something else. You understand?
yeah,
So that's why I told you that first routines are actually very, very important because they will know what to expect afterwards. So they will know if I do this, this will happen. So they will learn
hmm,
respect, they will know their lessons, and they will know the understand. They will start to understand because it's not like they don't understand. They mimic everything that we do. So I believe when one is feeling like that and one is like that, you just have to split yourself into five different circles. Like you have to be like an octopus, you understand? You have to manage and you have to have that you have to be comfortable around them. So when the one is doing that, you will know, okay, you just take that one away quickly, put them next to you. You talk to them now. You like, I don't know how to place it, man.
no,
I just
exactly.
do.
You, yeah,
I don't know how to place it, but I know what I will do in that moment actually. And it's
yeah,
difficult to explain it actually than showing it. You understand what I mean? But
of
I know
course.
if there is a rules in place, it will help with routines. Obviously, it will help them know the knowledge about the respect. It will help them teach them lessons, understanding. You understand? It will help them in all that things. So it is important for them to have tools so they will know, okay, if I do this, teacher will give me that tool. So you understand? So keep them a little bit busy, but they will still learn about the things that you are trying to teach them. Because they're like busy bees.
Mm,
They literally like just busy bees. The time that I spend at the crèche or the center when I do practicals, and sometimes I just go into in mornings, like do 2 to 3 hours just to go um how can I say, just to check on how they are doing because children always forget. They do forget about you. So I normally just go pop in and just go, even if it's not practical time, I just go in so that they know, oh, acknowledge, oh, they is still teacher, he's still yeah. You understand our children. So to just make them I'm so off the topic now actually.
no, it's fine. So I want to teach you a
So
rule,
yeah.
and it's a vital rule. It's called the 20, no, 10, 10, 80 rule, right? 10, 10, 80. So if you look at any classroom, or if you don't have a classroom and you
Mhm.
look at any job or any group of people, right? 10% of that group or 10% of your class are going to be the best of students you can imagine. They're going to be quiet, they're going to be working, they're going to want the best, they're going to follow every single rule. They're going to be like the top disciplined as such, right? That's only 10%. And if you have a class, you can already see which ones they are, right? Then you're going to have 10% of your group, which are the complete opposite. They are the hot mess of your group. They never have their stuff right. They hardly know where they are. They always wandering around. They have no idea what the rules are at any stage, right? They are the complete opposite. And then in the middle, you have 80% of the rest of the children. So if you have a class of 10 children, which means you're very lucky, you will have one child which knows all the rules, follows them, loves their work. You'll have one child who is a complete disaster, if we look at it disciplinary wise. All right. And then you have 8 children, 80% of them, which are just in the middle. And this 80% follow the attention of the teacher. Right. And here's the important rule to note here. They follow the attention of the teacher. So if the teacher or the facilitator is focusing on the bottom 10%, right? If they're always moaning at the 10% that are messing around, that are doing this, the whole class, 80% of them start feeling to get attention, I need to start acting in this way because I want attention. If the teacher focuses on the 10% that is doing very well and that is following the rules, the 80% start saying, oh, so if I want the teacher's attention, I need to follow the rules. What does this mean? It means that we need to pick our fights. Not everything should be a war in the ECD classroom. Some wars are worth engaging in, but not everything needs to be a war, right? And I'm going to show you how to do it. Sorry. So the next rule comes in of giving praise, and this is how you affect it. So if I'm in a classroom and I say, please take out the blue crayon, we are going to color this letter in, right? And I see that Mary has picked up the blue crayon and she's ready to go, but I see that Jonathan is still busy having a huge scuffle through his bag and he's not actually interested. What do I say? Do I say, Jonathan, pull your life together, we've got to go? No. I go to Mary and I say, Mary, well done. Look at you. You've got your blue cokie. You're ready to go. What happens to the other children? They go, oh, I also want to be praised. So, and you can see them all start scrambling to get their blue cokie because you've given attention to the right child. If you switch it around and you say, Jonathan, get your cokie, get it right. What are you doing? You'll end up doing it for every child because subconsciously they're all going to lose their blue cokies, right? Because they want the attention. So we give praise. And if it's something small, we try and ignore it and focus on somebody who's doing it right. Right? And it's difficult for us because we want to correct behaviors all the time. Right? So we pick our battle and we decide to praise the child who did it right so that the others can see how they get your praise. It really does work. Right. So, Darnell, can you unmute yourself?
Hello.
Right. Hello. Can you tell me about time out or the thinking corner or the quiet corner? Have you approached this? Have you ever used this in your life?
Okay, so the facility where I work is a preschool. So we've got a corner called Volkies. So whenever a child is, busy or I don't say you get naughty children, you just get busy children. So when they get busy, then we would tell them to go sit on the chair and then just go sit underneath the cloud, and think about everything. Give them time to breathe. Give them time to just relax and to cool down. So I've never used it before, but I've seen it. I've seen some of the teachers use before. Yeah, but I'm with the small babies.
Oh,
The age
okay.
9 months and 12 months. So yeah, for me, I don't really have time out yet for them.
No.
They're too small.
All right. So when do we use timeout? So timeout is used when a child is becoming destructive to the point that they are now disrupting others, right? So now they are stealing from the attention of others, right? So what do we do? The timeout corner serves a few purposes. Number one, it removes the attention that the child is getting from the other children, right? It is saying that you are not getting. Oh, let me just mute. Let me just mute someone quickly. It's telling the child that you are not getting the attention you need, and you're going to be removed from the attention. That is a very strong message for the child, right? Also, it gives you the opportunity to remove the emotional charge from the child. So you know when a child's acting the clown and they're getting that attention, the laughter, the playing, the all of that, you're removing all of that so that you can refocus them. Here's the rule for timeouts. A child's attention span is only as long as their age. So when a child is 1 year old, you can expect the attention span to be about 1 minute or so, right? A 1 year old does something for 1 minute, wanders off and does something, right? The attention span is very short. An 8-year-old child, sort of 8 minutes, they can keep the attention, and adults can keep attention for up to about 12 minutes at best, right? So when you do a timeout, you tailor it to the child's age. If you're teaching the 4-year-old class, not more than 4 minutes in timeout, because that for them is the whole span of their attention. After that, you've actually just wasted that influence, and then it becomes a bit torturous, right? So with older children, we would do 10 minutes, a 10-year-old, we would do 10 minutes in timeout, and then you come back, right? Because that is enough to break that pattern. And it's something that is done quite seriously. So you say, John, firstly, thank you, Mary. You're listening so well. You're doing the best you can. John, I see you're struggling here. Into the corner for 10 minutes, sit on that chair, or 3 minutes if he's 3 years old, whatever. And you're going to sit here and that's it. And then you ignore him from there, right? So that he starts processing where your attention lies. It's a very powerful tool, right? But if you use it too often, right, you're going to end up losing the group. The opposite of timeout is giving rewards. So let's check. Who have we not spoken to yet? Megan, are you with us? All right. Nyasha, are you with us? Remember to unmute yourselves. All right. That's Megan, that's Nyasha. Let's go back to the top of my list. Jonaline, could you unmute yourself?
Hello.
There we are. Okay, Jonaline, have you experienced giving rewards for children? What and the effect of that?
Yes, I have experienced that firsthand because I'm a mother of 3 children,
There we
and
are.
that is one of my ways to do things. I reward them, and sometimes I tell them I'm gonna give you a 20 rand if you behave, or if you do this, and if you do that. Okay, they wouldn't they're not so excited for the money, but when I give them something nice, like something they didn't expect, then I see a difference, and they ask, and they're quiet, and they listen. So yeah, it works for me.
Yeah. Yeah. So a very good technique to use is you have timeout, which is the extreme for the 10% that are being a bit wild and busy. That's the term. The reward giving, works on a very simple principle. Children love collecting things. They love a reward. They love something that
Yes.
sets them separate. So what I would do in my classroom, or what I've done previously, is you would get a sticker randomly if I spotted you doing something good. Right? So if you're following one of the rules, I would give you a sticker. And at the end of the week, right, I would put out different treats like pencils, maybe suckers, something else, and each one had a price. So if you had 5 stickers, you can buy this thing which costs 5 stickers. All right. So the whole week you're working towards getting the reward for the next week, right? So that you can start trading them in. A lot of people argue about giving food as rewards and treats. We're not going to get into that whole discussion right now because I have mixed feelings about it. But I found that works very well because suddenly you're giving them something tactile that they can collect and they know how to do it. It's in their control and they get to show off. They get to say, look, I collected 5 stickers. I'm going to get that special eraser, or I'm going to get that special thing at the end of the week, right? Because I've traded this in. A very great tool that I use, maybe with older children, was if you collected 10 of these cards from mine, right? On Friday, you could leave the classroom 3 or 4 minutes before everybody else for break, right? You had a longer break than everybody else. And if I can tell you how that used to drive the children mad, they used to love it so much because for us, it's only 3, 4, 5 minutes, but for them, it's a huge treat, right? They're getting something so special out of it, right? And the trick is you spot it randomly during the day. So you say, look, here's the rule. The rule is that we clean up our desks. John, you've cleaned up your desk. Here's your sticker. Keep it for Friday, right? And you put it on their sticker card, right? And then the first Friday comes and you say, okay, so here's the tuck shop that we have. Here's the little shop we have. Here's the cost of everything. It's 1 sticker for this, 2 stickers for that, 10 stickers for this. How many stickers do you have and what do you want to get? Right? And next week, we're going to do it again. Right? And you'll find that they start following these instructions because now they're motivated by something else. And it's something that they can see, it's something that they get, and it's really, really useful for building discipline. I'm going to ask, has anybody else experienced a reward structure in this group? How have you used rewards in your classroom? You can feel free to unmute yourself and start talking, and then I'll see who it is.
I personally have. I know, for 2 to 3 phase, they thrive on rewards. They absolutely love it. So I also have like a whole bunch of stickers and stuff, and then I also I also do that. So it makes a major difference in behavior, also like a bit of like teamwork, and also like if they've done their work properly. And I mean 2 to 3 phase, it's still little, but like, if they've colored in the lines, for instance, like colored a bit better in the line, and it's the colors, naming their colors a bit better, or like, so because we do days of the week and we count until 20 and then we count until 30, and so that's I really do use in my classroom, and I must say it works really well. And what I've actually asked, like, because also like we also do party training, so especially like with party training as well, it like clicks somehow a lot better because teacher, I made a wee wee. And then I'm like, oh, fantastic, and then we do like a whole praise thing. And I'm like, okay, let's go choose a sticker for you. And then, it really boosts them as well, So yeah, there's as much as discipline is a thing, but like the rewards are also like, they know, teacher Angie can be a bit strict. I use it my cross voice. Okay, guys, don't make me use my cross voice. And then they're all like, okay. But they also know that, there's a reward if I do this properly, there's a reward, and especially with stickers, yeah.
Yeah, rewards do amazing things for children. Right. So these are the two extremes. You have timeout, you have giving rewards, you have giving praise, and you have ignoring mild misbehavior. Overall, you have routine and structure, and overall, you have modeling. So, what modeling says is that children look up to an adult for what to do. So, if you react in a certain way, understand that the children will follow that behavior. So, for example, if I'm upset and I throw something across the classroom, what happens when children get upset? They feel that this is what you do when you're upset. I'm going to throw something, right? If I'm always late for classroom, children aren't going to line up after break because maybe the teacher's there, maybe she's not. She has not modeled that for us. Another way of modeling is we explain in detail what the rule is. And if I say, for example, we clean up our desk, I don't know why I'm obsessed with that rule today. Maybe it's because my desk is a mess. We clean up our desk after work, right? And the children look up at my desk and it is a complete mess, right? We haven't modeled that behavior because we've shown that we don't follow the rule. And children are very logical in that way, right? Yes, they act in all sorts of ways, but they do really understand same, different, right? So modeling behavior is quite important. Finally, logical consequences. All right, logical consequences is quite a difficult term to understand because very often people have disproportionate responses to things. So, for example, right, you have not finished this work. You have not colored in. Now you still need to color in, but now you need to color in your own time. Well, now you're going to have to take it home and color in there, right? It's a logical consequence. You can't be, you didn't color this in, and now I'm going to call your parents. You're going to not go out for break. You're not, it just doesn't make sense to have illogical consequences. Let's do a bit of an activity, which I find quite helpful when looking at this. So I'm going to split you into two groups, and I'm going to give you 10 minutes, right? Not even, I'm going to give you like 5 minutes, right? And you have to come up with 5 rules. Your classroom cannot have more than 5 rules, right? And you're going to present to us what those 5 rules are, and we're going to see how it works. Okay, so the rule is this: your classroom can only have 5 rules. What are those rules? So I'm going to split you into 2 breakout rooms. And I want you to unmute yourselves once you're in the room. And I want you guys to discuss what 5 rules you would have. So we're going to have in the first room, we're going to have Anthea, Jonaline, Megan. And in the second room, we're going to have Angie, Donnell, and Pedro. All right, I'm opening the rooms now. You have 5 minutes. Come up with your 5 rules that you would have. You'll see a notification will appear on your screen asking you to join a breakout room, and I'll swing between the two of them. Your 5 minutes starts now. Pedro, I notice you have not joined the breakout room. Do you hate me?
Pick up toys. As die toys die opgetel is nie 1 minute sit out, né? Hello?
Okay.
Um, if they don't listen,
Was, Megan?
if they don't listen,
What are the 5 rules?
Okay, so the 5 rules that we decided on actually 4 um, is the first one is when the teachers speak, the children listen, and when the children speak, the teacher listen. It also helps a lot in the classroom, get their attention and give them time to talk as well.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
second one would be helpful with cleaning time and be helpful with the children around you.
Okay.
The third one, what Angie, what was the third one? I
It
can't
was
remember.
sharing. Like sharing is
Oh,
caring.
sharing is scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So especially when
Okay.
it gets to like toys and stuff, obviously, okay, we have the younger phases, but in the
Mm.
the younger phases, definitely sharing with toys and stuff, because it can be a lot of like almost beating sessions over
Yeah.
toys. So
And then
sharing is always caring in my class, especially as a rule.
yeah. And then the fourth one will be no bullying.
Be kind to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, those are your 4 rules. I like it very much. Let's see. Donnell from the other group, what are your
Yes.
5 rules? Oh, no, that was you. Sorry, that was you, right? Anthea,
Yeah.
Anthea, what were your 5 rules?
We have a few, I'm not sure if it's right, but there's
No, just
never a
try.
wrong answer. So we've got here to always clean up after yourself, picking up toys.
Mhm.
If you do not listen, there will be chores. Always do your best because everybody can do it. Respect one another. And we also have sharing is caring. We also have no bullying as well. And the most important thing that we have here is to always listen when one or another person is speaking. So it's respect.
Mhm. Okay. So what is amazing is I've done this activity so many times with different groups in my life and different classes. And the rules that you have come up with are the rules that every single group comes up with. Right? I remember doing this activity with a bunch of grade 1 students years ago. And we sat down on the first day and we said, guys, we only have 5 rules in this classroom and we're going to all work on it together. Right? And we're all going to come up with what we all agree with are going to be the rules. Right? And these are the rules that they came up with. Right? If I've done it with adults, and these are the rules. So what's important here is that we keep our rules simple and we keep them principle based. So, for example, I would change the wording of some of your rules, and I would say, number 1, the first big rule is we respect each other, right? And then we discuss, what does respect mean? Respect means that I don't hurt you. I don't talk when you're talking. I don't do this. And you listen when I'm talking. That is respect. So we respect each other. Rule number 2, we respect our spaces. So we show love to our space. What does that mean? It means we keep our space neat. We throw away litter, right? We respect our spaces. We love our spaces. We love each other, right? We respect each other. We respect our places. Number 3, we stop and listen when somebody's talking. We freeze and listen when an adult is talking, right? So those are generally the 3. And you'll find that those principles, which are sort of overall, are covered everywhere, right? So, for example, when you now are enforcing it, it's easier to say we respect our space than to say we clean up after art, right? Because what happens if you're doing a numeracy activity? Do we not clean up then? Right? Little children are like little lawyers, right? They're going to find every little loophole to come through, and they need it very clear. So we respect our space. So what do you do now? Now we apply the principle of catching good, right? It's the principle of catching good. So we have the 5 rules, they're in the class, and every day we go through the rules to make sure we all understand what this means, right? It's the best 5 minutes of your day is going through this and getting everybody on the same page. Then you say, you're not, as you're going through the day, you say, oh, look, Tabo, you are following the rule. The rule says that we respect our place. And look, you're cleaning up your desk. Good, here's a sticker. Oh, look, Mary, you're following the rule of we respect other people because you stopped and listened when somebody started talking to you and you didn't bully. Oh, look, John, you shared your toy, right? That is following rule 1. Here's your reward. What happens then is that your rules become principles, right? They become how we do things rather than what are we going to be caught for. I think the biggest thing of discipline that I want you to take home is that if you need to be the policeman in your classroom, you are doing discipline wrong, right? If you need to be the policeman, you are not being a good teacher, right? You can be one of two things. You can be a teacher or a policeman. If you're being a policeman, it shows that you've not managed to connect with the children. You haven't had buy-in from them, right? When you look at society as adults, right? What happens when you don't trust your government? People don't respect what they say. People think, no, there must be something else here. Something's very suspicious here. Something's not working here. I'm not going to do that. Who knows what they want? We do that as adults, and little children do that with us also when they do not trust or understand what we are doing, right? So what do? We sit down, we come up with these rules together, and we keep going through the rules in a positive way. We're rewarding following these rules. And that's the best way for discipline, because then your focus is on teaching. But you know what else happens that's very amazing is children start monitoring each other, right? So when you say, for example, a child will say to another child, remember, we respect our places, so we need to clean up, right? Suddenly, you're not screaming at every single person and fighting with everybody to get a place sorted, right? It's all done. So it takes time. It takes about 2 to 3 weeks to get a discipline plan in place. But now, once the discipline plan is in place, we need to consider how we handle consequences. And I know that we've hit 7 o'clock, so I'll only take 5 more minutes to discuss this before I dismiss the class. All right. Sorry. So, number 1, the first rule with discipline is your consequences are clear and they are on display. Right? You display the consequences and you display the rewards. Right? So that they can see it, they can process it, they know exactly what's going to happen. The first time a rule is broken, generally it helps to just step in, touch the child on the shoulder, or just step into their space and say, we respect other people, we share. And then the second time, we point it out, we model it. We say, oh, look, thank you, Mary, for sharing your toy. Right? And remind John that we share. Right? The third time, now you say, you have broken the rule 3 times. Do you see on the board, it says that on the third time, you go to the the time out corner, the thinking space. So you're going to go there now, end of story. Because by the third time, the child then knows that you're serious and you're strict. Right? And you have now made it a group thing. You have lost your right to be part of this group for 5 minutes that's having so much fun and doing so well because of that. After the 5 minutes, we come back in and we continue as normal, but we ask the child to repeat the rule to us. Right? Okay, you're coming back to class. What is the rule again? We respect each other. So we're going to do this. Okay, good. And we continue and we give positive attention. Right? This generally helps a lot. And I've used this with young children. I've used this with teenagers, right? Very often catching children doing good having clear consequences, having display of rewards and consequences, all provide security, and it draws attention to the right elements of our class. One thing I want you to be very careful of is we don't consider the best marks in a test as a positive. We consider doing the best we can as a positive. Right? So be very careful of linking results and performance to a reward. Yes, we reward people who do well, but we don't make it the sole purpose. So in my classrooms, for example, if I had to reward somebody for getting this whole activity done perfectly fine, I would reward them, but I'd also reward somebody else for trying their best, right? An honest reward, right? So that they know that it's not just that. If I try my best, I get a reward, right? So if I could ask you then quickly to summarize today's class for me on discipline into 2 sentences, right? If you could summarize it into 2 sentences, what would it be? Think for 10 seconds. When I call you out, give me your 2 sentences. Right. Let's start here in the corner. Megan Prince. Okay, Megan's out for a bit. Anthea, 2 sentences to summarize the class.
I feel it was very helpful. I learned a lot, and I learned to be more, how can I say, I'm a very shy person actually. And the fact that you went on my button the whole time, it just made me more comfortable actually to speak up. And I've learned actually a lot, learning from the other students as well. That is in the ECD. So yeah, it's awesome actually. The fact to learn
So
is
Anthea, if
learn
you need
new
to,
things.
perfect. If you need to tell somebody 2 things you learned in this classroom, what are they?
It was helpful, and I've learned various of types of routines and ways to discipline a child,
Perfect. I
especially
like
the
that.
rules.
I like that. All right, perfect. Darnell, you need to summarize to your fellow staff tomorrow what you've learned today. What are 2 things that you would say you learned? What are 2 important things you can take home with you? Okay. Angie, what are 2 things that you can take home with you?
Well, definitely, definitely, like there's a lot more, like there's a whole different way of disciplining kids. So instead of, um, how do I say, like especially like with the reward system, like it makes sense what you said, where just like don't just reward one behavior, like also reward the trying part. I think like I I'm a softie. I reward all the time, but I think the rewards thing I'm definitely going to take a second take on, and definitely the discipline thing as a second take. Like putting it out in like the layout that's here. It's a lot. It like makes more sense, So I think it will be like more less chaotic then, like because classroom can be chaotic sometimes. So I think less chaos, better discipline tactics, and um like a reward system. It's awesome.
Perfect. So remember, rewards are
Yeah.
special. So we give them
Yes,
out
yeah.
in a limited capacity. All
Yes,
right.
yes.
Donnell, I see you unmuted yourself and then you muted yourself again. So do you have 2 things that you could take away from this lesson for us?
No, that was an accident. I'm so sorry. But yeah, the reward system is also nice.
So the
It
reward
actually shows
system?
me that you can reward it, but not too much because then they're gonna think it's not special anymore. Like you said, it's a very special thing, so you need to keep it.
Yeah. And we reward the most with our voices. We
Yeah.
praise and praise and praise. Children love that. All right,
Yes, thank you.
Jonna Lee, 2 things that you can tell people you learned today in class. If you had to only remember 2 things, what would it be?
If I can remember 2 things, it would be to praise the child always, because that's how I instill like confidence in them. And yes, and I would definitely use the reward system because it works. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Pedro, 2 things.
Hi, Nick.
Hi. 2 things you can take away from her.
The modeling system and also the fact that discipline needs to be consistent.
Okay, perfect. So if I can give you 2 things to remember, it is the first thing is discipline focuses on catching good behavior, right? I aim to catch good behavior. The
Yeah.
next thing of discipline is 10, 10, 80. Where is my attention? Because where my attention is, the behavior grows. Where my attention goes, the behavior grows. So if I feel my class is out of control, it is because I have fed and given attention to the out of control. All right. Ladies, thank you so much. Anthea, I'm so glad you were put on the spot today. Guys, please do share in the groups. Do share if you have questions about discipline. There's so many resources available for something called assertive discipline, which I'm willing to share with you. Ask questions. That's why we're available. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing so much today. I do appreciate it. And I hope I get to lecture you guys again quite soon. It was great fun on my side. Have a beautiful evening.
you
If
so
you're in
much.
Joburg, good luck with the storm. And I
Thanks.
look forward to all your assignments soon. All right. Have a lovely evening.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.